I want to say hi and welcome to everyone who's here. It's really such a such a great opportunity we have here this evening to all be together with really dozens of families, couples, individuals signing in from different places around Vancouver and I'm sure well beyond. And a great pleasure for me to welcome an old friend, Mary Jo Barrett, who's joining us to learn with us and teach us from Mary Jo. You're in Chicago or just outside of Chicago?
Yes, I am. I'm in Evanston, to be
Wonderful.
exact.
Oh, Evanston, of course. I have my wife's sisters and much of her family are in Chicago, so I have a great affinity for your wonderful city. And I'll just spend the next 35 minutes introducing you. And actually, what I do want to say about Mary Jo, everyone, is that she is someone who is taught for many years, this is how I know her, at a rabbinic retreat called Rabbinic Training Institute, RTI, that the Jewish Theological Seminary has put on for many decades now. And Mary Jo has taught there many times for many of the cold January week-long or almost week-long retreats. And Rabbi Infeld has been there many times. I've been there 3 or 4 times. And at least twice, I think, I've been in an evening session for 4 nights in a row with a group of fellow rabbis and Mary Jo. And the first time I signed up for this, I saw a title that said compassion fatigue, or that was one of the phrases. And I thought, oh, that's nice, because I can get fatigued, worn out, trying to care for so many people and causes all over the local community and the global community. But I learned that what Mary Jo can teach us is not just about getting fatigued from having too much compassion for others, but really how to care for ourselves. And she does this through her own teaching and facilitating at lectures like this and retreats and other places, but also at the Center for Contextual Change, a center that she runs in the Chicago area with a lot of counselors, therapists, social workers, clinicians who are working with her in behavioral therapy and really working with people. I think from my experiences with Mary Jo to help them in so many aspects of life, and we're really I think really have a great opportunity to learn with her tonight. So Mary Jo, thank you so much for being with us. I welcome you to our shul, and I have a memory that you have an active involvement in your own shul out there in the northern parts of Chicago, out in Evanston.
I do.
So
I
welcome to
do.
our community.
Well, it's good to be here, and thank you for having me, Rabbi Stein and Rabbi Anthil. And Bruce, I'm really sorry about the loss of your mom. This is a hard time for everybody, and I mean, I'm sure we could. When I just got back at him from what we finally call Rabbi Camp, right? And so much of what the rabbis were. What I led the workshop on was about loss. And in some ways, I'm going to talk a little bit about loss tonight. So Bruce, hopefully you'll be thinking of your mom when I'm with what I'm talking about tonight. Is all of us are going to be thinking about the losses that we have to remember in order to create a meaningful life. So having said that, I don't know, let me start. I'm one of those people that use PowerPoints a lot, and some of the PowerPoints I've sent to the synagogue, and so there's probably going to be a list somehow of everyone who's attending, and so if you want them, or Diane, or rabbis, if you want to send them out to everybody, be my guest. Feel free to share. So what we're going to talk about tonight is how to design a practical blueprint for creating a meaningful life. And I think one of the things I was thinking about when I was thinking about talking with all of us tonight is that, you know, sometimes I even get sick of self-help, and I for sure often get sick of listening to myself talk. But I get sick of self-help because it's like Oprah, right? Like, just do this and your life will be terrific. And the truth of the matter is, we do have to be active in creating a meaningful life. It's not something that just happens. It's something that we create. And so what I am going to really talk about is some science and some research, and I hope in a really interesting way, that can help address how do we really, in a very practical way, create a meaningful life. So, having said that, I'm going to start off with a couple of quotes that I think are, oh, sorry, I want to plug in my computer so it doesn't run out in the middle of this. It's 9:30 in Chicago, so my computer has been working all day. So, life is a repeated cycle of getting lost and finding yourself again. There are smaller cycles within the cycle where you get lost to a smaller degree and then remember yourself again. Sometimes you get lost consciously and often unconsciously. But every time you get lost, it's so that you can learn something or experience something from a different perspective. This is how you grow and evolve. So why do I start off with that quote? I start off with that quote because living a meaningful life changes over time. The meaningful life that Adam is leading is different than the meaningful life of Rabbi Enfield. It's different than my meaningful life. And my meaningful life now, as somebody that's approaching 70, is very different than when I had children at home or when my parents were alive. A meaningful life changes. And I think that's one of the aspects that gets us lost, is that we often design our meaningful life way before we have any idea what is going to happen to interrupt that. And in fact, all life is a constant interruption. No one had anticipated that we would be in the middle of another COVID, or had anticipated COVID at all. And yet we got lost, and we are slowly finding our way. And then we'll get lost again and slowly finding our way. And look at the meaningfulness that we can have from Zoom that we couldn't have had. You know, the other day I was just saying to somebody, hey, we can have this conversation on Zoom, where I could have had that same conversation on Zoom with 3 years ago, and I would have never thought of it. It would have been a phone call and I wouldn't have been able to see people. So the fact is, a meaningful life changes all the time. It changes as our kids grow. It changes how our jobs change. It is a constant. Life is a constant series of getting lost, okay, and finding ourselves again. And so what is a meaningful life is, how have I constructed my life so that when I'm lost, I have ways to find a new path? So it's a journey. As we all know, life is a journey. So when I'm lost in that journey, do I have what is necessary to find a different path? So the next piece that's really an important quote in this creating a meaningful life plan is, the range of what we think and do is limited by what we fail to notice. And because we fail to notice, there's little we could do to change until we notice how failing to notice shapes our thoughts and deeds. That's kind of a psychological tongue twister. Yet, if you really read it, what it's basically saying is that we have to recognize when we're lost. We have to stop and recognize the confusion, the doubt, the anger, the fear, and take a moment and say, what do I need to recreate meaning in this moment? So a meaningful life means creating meaning in a moment. Creating a meaningful life is contained in the present moment. It's the awareness of I am lost. Life is not solely what we wish it could be. Life is not only what we dream it could be. Life is not what it was, and life is not what's going to be in the future. Life is lived in the present and in the moment. With memories, absolutely. With dreams, absolutely. But it's in the moment where we're living our life. And in the moment when we are choosing to remember those we love. In the moment where we are choosing what's going to be what we're looking for the future. So in fact, you hear it all the time about being in the moment. I hope I'm just making that concept practical. It is living life is what you are doing right this second. Right now, a meaningful life for all of you is being here with me, is being in community, is learning, is connecting, is creating energy between us, is talking. That's life in the moment. And if this is meaningful to you in this moment, you are living a meaningful life. So what happens to me when I'm lost? And this is, now we're getting into the real practicals, okay? And if you excuse me, and Adam knows this about me, I spend a lot of time thinking about the brain. So if I'm saying that life is a series of getting lost, and I'm saying life is in the moment, then what happens when we are in the lost and we are in the moment? Let me see. When we are lost, we are experiencing ourselves in that moment, just in that moment, as I'm powerless, or I feel disconnected, or I feel devalued, or I feel out of control. When something doesn't go the way we want it to go. When we have a death, when we are sick, when we wake up one morning, when we have an emergency, when we get lost, when we feel helpless, when we feel out of control. Those moments of being lost are the pivotal moments when we need to create our life plan. Okay? It's in those moments when we feel the most powerless, the most out of control, the most devalued, the most disconnected from myself and others, are the moments we need to pause, okay, and create what we want in that moment. What do we need in that moment? To find myself again, do I need to make connection with someone? Do I need to pray? Do I need to learn something? Do I need to laugh? What do I need in this moment to find myself? So when I'm lost, which means I feel powerless, whatever renders me powerless, when I feel disconnected, when I feel devalued, when I feel out of control, I want to take a second and explain what happens in our brains. So what happens in our brains? And this is why I'm talking about what we have to do to make our plan, our concrete plan. When I am not lost, when I am regulated, when I feel connected, when I feel in control, when I feel centered, when I feel meaning, it could be joy, happiness, relaxation, peace, when I feel the presence of God, when I'm in nature, I am what we call in the neurology world in the green zone. That in the green zone, I am living a meaningful life at that moment. I'm in connection with people. I feel settled. I feel compassionate. I'm curious. I'm open. I'm grounded. I'm calm. Now, nobody stays in the green zone all the time. But when we are in the green zone, that's when we find meaning. That's when we're living a meaningful life. When something or many things that happen in life, that's why the first slide is life is a continual cycle of getting lost. When I am interrupted, if you see the black line, I begin to leave the green zone. That part of being lost is I start to feel fear. I might feel worry. I might feel concern. I feel sadness. I feel frustrated. I feel irritated. I feel rage. When I'm feeling any of those feelings, that's an indication that I am lost. So is everybody following me? If you're putting all the slides together, life is a series of being lost. When I'm lost, I can't be living a meaningful life in that moment. And a meaningful life is a moment by moment and by moment experience. Okay? So when I start to feel any of those feelings, or even move into the red zone, when I'm in my worst, when I feel the most hopeless, the most trapped, those are the moments I have to acknowledge I'm lost and I must find myself again. So in creating a meaningful life means recognizing I'm lost and finding a way to bring myself back to meaning in the moment, to bring myself back into connection, into feeling valued and valuing others, and feeling in control of my life and what's happening in the moment, and feeling some sense of power and influence. So this is what I'm going to recommend to you is that this is a little journaling assignment. This is a bit of something you can work on. This is something that is the plan. Okay. So let's just look at today. Okay. And we can even take a little time to talk about that. Just look through your day today. Just think about your day. Okay. Everybody thinking about it? Think about, sorry. That is not what I wanted. Okay. Think about your relationships, your friends, your relationships if you're working, your neighbors, your social, any relationships you have. Think about your physical health. Think about your emotional and spiritual health and who you are, and think about your family. Okay? So if you think about your day, and this is part of the plan of what I'm saying, making a meaningful plan, is that where today, just today, did you feel powerless, out of control, disconnected, or devalued in any of these areas? Did you wake up and not feel physically well? Did you wake up and feel lost because of a death? Did you have a fight with somebody at work? Did you get in a difficulty with one of your children? Did one of your neighbors call up and say something? Any areas of your life today, just today, or you could think yesterday or the day before, but think in the recent past of ways you felt powerless, out of control, disconnected, or devalued in any of these areas. And when you think about them, and if you want, you probably all know how to put it in the chat. Feel free to put some of your examples in the chat. Anybody can share. I had something happen with a neighbor or with my kids, or anything anybody wants to share about how you felt lost, out of control, disconnected, or devalued in any of these areas today or yesterday. Anybody want to write in the chat and share it? Or take off mute if you want to share it out loud? Or do you have any idea what I'm talking about? This is the problem with Zoom. Nobody wants to share anything? Nope. No. All right. Well, then I guess
When you're sitting around, when you're sitting in a circle around a room, people are happy to share, right?
Yes, exactly. Who said that? The rabbi Enfield? Well, let's put it this way. How about this? Right now, I feel disconnected and a bit powerless because nobody's talking. I mean, that's a perfectly good reason, a good answer. So I'm presenting, and I'm very dependent on people's feedback and communication, and that's my style of presenting. So in this moment, I'm lost. So it's a great example. I'm lost in this moment. What do I do? Right now, I'm looking at the clock thinking, okay, if nobody talks, and it's 10 o'clock my time, but what time is it by you? 8? It's 8 o'clock your time. And if nobody talks, then I'm done. What do we do? How do I? So that's how you start to spiral, right? That in fact, getting lost if I don't take the time to find myself again. All right. So what I could easily do, because things aren't going the way I predicted, right? Because people aren't talking, I could say they don't understand. I'm not entertaining enough. I could do everything on I could get afraid. I could, I could start to worry. I could give up. I could get anxious. I could get angry. I could get irritated, right? What I need to do, and so if you saw what I did, is I took a moment and I used my being lost to make meaning. I literally used the moment of being lost. I took a second and thought, what can I do in this moment to ground myself, to make myself feel okay about what's happening? How in this moment can I create meaning? And so what I did was what you saw me do. Literally.
There are two people who put something in the chat, by the way.
Oh, great. Okay, great. That is a great example. Oh, someone said it was a meaning. Okay, great. Thank you. So if everybody could wants to look in the chart, they found out my childhood friend's mother had suddenly died. Someone said they had a very meaningful, wonderful day. So that's fabulous. I found myself seated too close to other people while waiting for my takeout order at a restaurant. Those are really great examples. Those are really, really great examples. So that the point is, some of the losses, finding out your friend's mother died, and you can say, well, how am I going to compare that to sitting next to somebody too close at a takeout? The fact is, both of them are examples in a life of finding, I'm in this moment feeling powerless, out of control, or disconnected. Oh, thank you very much. Gail said, Canadians tend to be more reticent than Americans to share personal stuff. Well, thank you, Gail. That was, Gail, you helped me make meaning. So I really appreciate it. Now I'm looking to see who you are on the, where's Gail? So I can, where's Gail? Wave your hand, Gail.
Her video is not on, but
okay.
there's Gail.
Okay, well, thank you, Gail. That was helped me make meaning. I appreciate it in the moment. Thank you. So the point is here is that, is for in this moment, what I'm suggesting that you do is that every day, oh, can you still see me? Can someone answer? My computer just went off.
Yeah, we can see you and your presentation still, don't worry.
Oh, you can? Okay,
Yeah.
except that I can't change it. So what slide, my computer completely died. What picture's up?
You went to the end, so now it's starting up. You gotta start it again.
All right, except I can't see. So, oh dear. Huh. All right, well.
What's on the screen now is awareness and attunement to self and being
Okay.
now it's the cycle of change. These are, I believe, you might have seen these.
Oh, these are at the beginning.
Yeah.
Diane, you can change them for me?
Did you want me to make your notes?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, wait a minute. I don't know what is, I'm getting lost, you all. I have no idea what happened. Okay.
I think you're in the edit mode in your PowerPoint now.
I am? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well. All right, so you
Joe, if you want to keep speaking, but if you want to send me the presentation, I can show it for you as you go.
Well, you can also, Diane, don't you have it up?
I don't have it up, but I can send it.
All right, send it to Adam, I guess, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, Diane, if you send it to me, I'll take care of it. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's coming in a second.
All right.
Mary Jo, you talk and I'll worry about getting it up on the screen.
Okay, so, all right, so this is talk about getting lost. All right, so I'll take a second and get myself together. Sorry about this. So you can still see me, right?
We see your picture.
Oh, not even my real picture.
Just your photograph. I don't know if you've turned your video off.
No,
That's what it looks like here. It says your video's been turned off.
Okay. All right, I'm sorry about this. I'm wondering if I should get off the computer and sign back in. Anyway, okay. So I'm so sorry about this. See, I guess my computer is saying it's too late to be up. All right, now you can see me?
Yes, you're back.
I'm back.
Yes.
All right.
You're back on.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Don't apologize.
Computer was just assisting with the example.
Yes, that was my computer's totally existing with the example. So we have to be less dependent on okay. So basically what I'm suggesting is that throughout your day, in order to make a plan, you have to make plans by each day and by each moment. So what a life plan means is that when I'm lost, like I'm lost now, right? About I'm lost with the computer. I'm lost. I don't know where I am, what I'm doing. It gets totally overwhelmed. So, for example, I have to take some deep breaths, right? I have to try to find solutions. I have to be connected. I have to assume your Rahman is for my dilemma. I have to talk to you by being honest. I have to go through what in this moment is going to help me feel powerless, powerful, connected to you, valued, and in control. So one of the things that would help me is, Adam, let me know, do you have any pictures up?
Yeah, do you see it?
No, I don't. I don't see anything, but.
Does everyone else see it?
Yes.
Oh, good.
What
Okay, so
one
we
do you-
have I have your how do I create this into a moment life plan, daily life plan, that slide.
All right. Okay. Okay. What else is on that slide?
It's
Oh,
just that the next. If I
Okay.
go to the next one, you get the keys to success and all those bullet points.
Okay, so let's talk about those, okay? So, and you can still see me, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, okay, good. All right, then we'll just pretend. So, how do I do this? The first piece is, if you're going to create a meaningful life plan, the first thing you do is you tell the people who are in your life that you have made decisions about how you're going to live your life according to a meaningful life plan. So that means, again, using our dilemma here, or my dilemma, I'm telling you, this is how I'm going to proceed with making a meaningful life plan for the next 20 minutes. So it's about, if you're sitting with someone, that if you take on this concept of I'm creating a meaningful life plan, moment by moment, then what that means is telling the significant people in your life, telling your children, telling your partners, telling your friends that I am partaking in a new way of living my life, which is a phenomena of creating a meaningful life plan. So you turn to your partners, you turn to your friends and say, let me explain to you what I went to a talk last night, and I really want to try to build a meaningful life in a different way. And the concept I learned from this talk last night was life is meaningful based on a series of meaningful moments. That it's absolutely based on past, absolutely about dreaming of future, and most importantly, it's about living a series of meaningful moments. So if we even use the example of sitting next to somebody feeling too close, how do I make that a meaningful moment? To say to somebody, oh, excuse me, I think I'm going to move. I'm leaving. I'll give you an example using that. I'm supposed to go to a wedding on Sunday. And I've made up my mind that and told the people of the wedding, if I don't feel comfortable, I will sit in the back, be at the ceremony, and choose to leave. But I will be there for the meaningful moment of the ceremony. So thinking about my life and how can I make it meaningful? The first piece is to help others know that, to let them know what you're doing. The next step in creating a meaningful life plan is this concept of being in the moment, of mindfulness. So again, using again the example, when my computer went off, which it still is off, when my computer died, I literally shot into the yellow zone. You would have thought I planned all this, right? I shot into the yellow zone. I felt anxious. I felt concerned. I completely felt lost. I had no idea what I was going to do. And in fact, what I did now that I'm aware of is that I just started talking out loud. I just started talking to myself about how I could get through this. And as I talked, as I connected with Adam and asked him to help, as I was getting feedback from all of you, as I, in my mind's eye, imagined you all being very understanding, very supportive, very caring, I started to notice that I came down. And my guess is you could even notice a change in me. That when it first happened, how I shot up into the yellow zone. And as I started to calm down, when I realized you could see me, when I realized Adam could put the PowerPoint up, when I realized I could follow on my phone, all of that lowered my nervous system so that I once again could be in the green, which is in the meaningful place, where I could feel connected to all of you, where I could feel more in control in the moment, when I got back my sense of value, because I would still be able to share with you. All of those things made the moment meaningful. All right. So I was lost. I shot up into the yellow. I found ways which through connection and getting help, finding ways to take care of myself, brought me back into the green zone where I then could create meaning. So
Mary Jo, can I
yeah.
jump in for a moment?
Yeah.
One thing, I'm hearing a little static, so maybe the phone or computer, that whatever you're speaking on now, maybe a little further from your mouth. I'm not sure why it's doing it.
Okay.
And maybe we can't fix it. But what I heard from you is when you said, I'm imagining all of you being very understanding, that's very different than what our natural inclination is, which is to imagine all the people in front of me are being critical and not understanding.
Right. Right. That's a great point. And part of it is the piece, I think, Adam, that what that says to me is that because I've lived my life according to this plan, right? Because I took the moment, I literally took the moment, and because I'm a teacher, I've learned how to think and talk at the same time. But I took the moment. And if you remember, I did say to all of you, I hope you can have Rahmanas for me, right? That you will be understanding and have compassion for me. And I chose in that moment to believe that you would have compassion for the frustration. Is the sound any better?
It still does it a little bit. I'm not sure why. So maybe keep it a little further away.
Okay.
We'll see.
I have no idea what it is. Sorry. Yep. I don't know what it is. Okay. The next thing to do is that we have to be creative. So whenever you're lost in that moment that you're lost, that you take a moment to settle yourself, which is the mindfulness. And then you have to get creative. What do I need to do right now? What is going to help this situation in the moment? How can I be creative? What are the different ways in this moment I can make meaning? That I can have a meaningful conversation if I'm in the middle of being upset with someone. How do I pause, which is the mindfulness, and then what can I do creatively in this moment to find meaning? What is it, and this goes back to what you were saying, Adam, what is it that I'm saying to myself? What do I say to myself? Is what I'm saying to myself devaluing of me? Is it negative? How can I turn what I'm saying to myself into something that's curious and compassionate? So again, looking down at the green, if I'm in the yellow and I'm saying things that are angry or devaluing or nasty or mean, whether it's critical to self or to others, how can I take a moment and be compassionate and curious? Because again, that's where I'm going to find meaning, is in that valuing others, valuing myself, and feeling connected. Yep. Did it change?
No, I think
Hello?
we're so good. On our slide, maybe is that the next bullet point might be about the every month, every week, every day.
Okay. So what I'm suggesting is that every day that we wake up and we take some time, whether it's during morning prayers, before if you don't go to Minion, after morning prayers, perhaps you don't go to Minion instead of morning prayers, but that you take a moment. And that's what davening is about, is taking that moment truly to create meaning. So what I'm suggesting is, in whatever way you want, that every morning when you wake up, that you create meaning, that you think about your day, you think creatively about how you want to be in that day, you think about how, or you feel, or you write, or you journal. Who is it that is going to face this day? And you make a plan for the day that's meaningful, right? And meaningful can be, I'm going to eat healthy, because if you go back to that chart, meaning is, what am I going to do that's meaning in my relationships? What am I going to do that's meaningful in my family? Meaningful. What is going to be meaningful for who I am emotionally and spiritually? What am I going to do that's creating meaning for my physical health? That every day we look at those 4 areas of our lives and we look at how to create meaning. And we start the day with a meaningful life plan. And every moment that I get off of track, that I get lost, that I feel out of control, disconnected, I use the same format, the same plan to make meaning in that moment. So I make meaning every day. I make meaning every hour. I pause to make meaning every moment. And every time I feel lost and out of control, how do I find meaning? How do I take a moment and find meaning? And I ask others to help me. I ask my friends, I ask my family, help me find meaning. I get in relationships and connections with people. What am I doing with you, for you, and for myself that's creating meaning? So every day, our days should be designed around our emotional and spiritual health, our relationships, our family, and our physical health. And that is what's going to create meaning. When I spend the time to pause and think, what is going to work for me? The final slide is something I learned from studying Martha Graham, believe it or not. And I took her message about practice, and what she was talking about was practice in dance and performance. And what I realized is that in order to create a meaningful life, that we had to practice making a meaningful life every day, making a meaningful life every hour. So what the plan is, am I lost? Meaning, in this moment or in this period of my life, do I feel powerless or out of control, disconnected or devalued? I'm aware of, am I lost in this moment, in this time? And then how can I find myself again? By looking in the resources of my physical being, my emotional and spiritual being, my friendship and my relationships. And what in those 4 domains can I fill myself up with so that I find myself again? In this moment when I'm lost, who is there? Can I rely on myself? Can I rely on my breath, my own physical well-being? Can I turn to God or to other to pray to get myself in a meaningful place? Every single day, throughout my day, I have to practice this same thing. I have to practice, am I lost? And where can I find myself in this moment? Martha Graham taught me, I believe that we learn by practice, whether it means to learn to dance by practicing dance or to learn to live by practicing living. The principles are the same. In each, it is the performance of a dedicated, precise set of acts, physical acts, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, from which comes the shape of achievement, a shape of meaning, a sense of one's well-being, a satisfaction of spirit. Practice means to perform over and over again in the face of all obstacles, some acts of vision, of faith, of desire. Practice is a means of inviting what is desired. Practice is finding yourself each and every time you are lost. Sound practices create a meaningful life. So a sound practice is to be mindful of the moment, to turn inside to who I am, my spirit and my emotional, to connect with my relationships and my family, and to keep myself physically as sound as I possibly can throughout every moment of the day. And when I feel lost, reach out. When I feel lost, take a breath. When I feel lost, drink a glass of water for my physical health. When I feel lost, sit for 1 moment, pray, meditate, be creative, write, do art, anything that will bring you to a moment of positive meaning. And a meaningful life is a series of adding up those powerful, meaningful moments. So, though this was chaotic, and I really apologize for that, are there questions? We still have about 6 minutes. I'd be more than happy. Somebody'd have to read them to me because I have absolutely no computer.
Mary Jo, I offered in the chat for people to send me questions. And I was having a conversation with someone in our community back and forth about a question or series of questions that she posed. But as I'm sharing the first question with Mary Jo, if anyone else has another question or two, we might get a little bit more time for more than one question. Mary Jo, the question that someone from our community was asking is, when we're in situations in which we feel like we have no control, or maybe we in fact have no control, Omicron or these other pandemic-related issues, how do we make meaning in that moment? If we really feel out of control, how can we have control?
Yep. Okay, so here's the piece. When you really, this is the fabulous part about the brain. Okay, is that when you feel out of control, if you can bring yourself into a grounded space that you will feel more in control. So let's say it's very specific. I feel completely, I'll give you a great example. I felt completely out of control about going to this wedding because of the virus, right? And I wanted to go, and I felt completely out of control. And I literally sat down in a chair. I was really anxious, and I sat down in a chair, got a cup of tea, and started journaling and wrote, what do I have control of? I feel completely out of control. What do I have control of? I have control of calling my best friend and talking about not going to the wedding, which would be connecting in relationships. I have control of saying, if I decide to go to the wedding, I will choose to leave the table if I don't want to eat, but I only want to be at the service. So I literally did everything on that sheet. I sat down, I got mindful, I got creative, okay? And I simply, in that moment, came up with ways that I could get control. But I identified that I had felt out of control, okay? And as soon as I started identifying ways that I could be in control, I started to feel better. Now, here's the piece. An hour later, I could have felt out of control again, right? About something else. But I had to go through that same practice. So when I felt out of control and I made all those decisions, I called my friend and talked to her about it. I called the restaurant and said, do you have takeout to the places that the wedding was going to be? I just called on my own, right? I changed my seat on the airplane. I looked up. I can't control everything, but I went to what I could control. And I literally made a list of everything I could possibly control. But I couldn't make that list, get creative, until I sat down, took some breaths, and had a cup of tea. So I followed that plan. And now I have a plan. It's not perfect, but feels better. Now, something else is going to interrupt that plan, I'm sure, when I get to the wedding, right? However, I will go through the exact same practice. I will sit down. I will get myself physically, whether it's through drinking water, and literally when my computer went blank, I did the same thing. I took a drink of water. I took some deep breaths. I went through the process. Because I practiced this process, I could do it really quick now. But I literally went through the process to get myself back to a meaningful presence. I don't know, did that answer it, Adam?
I think, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Someone told me that, oh, Phyllis, you have your hand up, the digital hand. And then I got another question from someone in the chat. I'll hold on to that one because Mary Jo, we have a nice tradition here that we've developed to end not with announcements and logistics, but end with the final question, so it ends with meaning. So I'll hold on to that last question till the very end, and let's just hear Phyllis's question quickly now.
It's not a question, but it's a comment on what happened with all the misfirings with the computer, which to me is like a nightmare. And I would not have, you know, I would not, I don't think have the quick mind to handle this. And I think I learned so much from the way that you went through this, more than I think you activated the words. And
I did it on purpose, Phyllis. I totally told my computer to burn up. What I think is my computer was definitely saying to me, what are you doing up so late? Go to sleep, but thank you. Thank you.
Well, it was very fortuitous. And I think I had the impression you didn't give up. And I had the impression of hearing you walk a tightrope. And then you, step by step, got to the other side. And I just wanted to commend you on activating all these words. And also my own comment, at one point in my life, about 3 years ago, before COVID, I took an improvisation class. And I don't know why that I took it. It was, I think, because it was so out of the realm of how I imagined myself. And
Good for you.
they were doing research of seeing how the elderly, namely me, and the college age students would react together in an improvising situation.
Oh, wow.
And the teacher was wonderful, and he kept emphasizing everything that you thought you didn't know what to say. Your turn was coming, and you were frozen, and he just kept emphasizing the yes and that whatever you said was fine, and then it was the next person's turn. And it didn't have to be brilliant, or you just have to speak some kind of words. It was okay. And that being okay, I have never experienced in my life, or said, whatever you do, it's okay. And that
If I can, I apologize. I just want to squeeze in here. I apologize because we're actually getting a little late.
yes,
So,
I'm done, but
okay, thank you.
I
Thank
just,
you.
Thank you, Phyllis. That
A
was
little
that
bit
was
late in
great.
Vancouver and a lot more late in Chicago.
Exactly.
well,
And
yes,
I-
I'm finished then.
thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Phyllis.
I do want to say thank you to Rabbi Stein for moderating so far, and to Mary Jo, as always. It's wonderful to learn from you, and I mean, there couldn't be a more important topic than this. Creating a meaningful life is really what I think is at the essence of being a human being and seeking meaning. And you helped us to be able to do that this evening. We were only able to do this series because of Bob sponsoring this series in memory of his brothers. And I know Bob would like to share a few last words before we have one last question.
Fine. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, Bob.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you very much, Rabbi Infeld. I'd like to express utmost appreciation to our wonderful guest speaker, Mary Jo Barrett, for her superb presentation tonight. It was most enlightening, meaningful, and memorable. How would we describe my dear brother Ralph? In every thought that Ralph had, in every action which he took, his foremost instinct was to think first of the well-being of the other person. It was a most dedicated mindset which he constantly held throughout his life. It was kindness to all. Ralph's life began in 1923 in Edmonton, where he attended Talmud Torah, had his bar mitzvah, was active in AZA youth organization. His high school graduation was followed by his serving in World War II. Returning home, he enrolled in pharmacy at the University of Alberta, graduating with high honors. Ralph was very proud of his Jewish heritage and most sincerely and modestly tried his best throughout the years to support the community, Israel, important causes, and those in need. He often recounted the joy and pride he had on his visits to Israel, the Jewish homeland. As time quickly passed, our parents developed ongoing serious health difficulties, and Ralph's advocacy on their behalf was nonstop, day after day, year after year, as he oversaw every minute detail relevant to their well-being, including fighting for second and even third opinions and arranging for 24-hour care. If he felt it necessary, Ralph would most respectfully and politely question the doctor's opinions and suggest alternative procedures based on his own research. On numerous occasions, the doctor agreed with Ralph's points, implemented them, and that resulted in a substantial improvement in our parents' health. In retrospect, Ralph not only added substantial life to our parents' years, he added many precious years to their lives. Though Ralph found travel difficult as time passed, he nevertheless flew to Las Vegas many times to help our brother Ron, whose health was quickly deteriorating. With the years continuing to quickly pass, Ralph lost his eyesight and not long after that developed other substantial health problems. Nevertheless, he never complained, and with his mind sharp as ever, he followed world events, sports, and music on the radio and the television sound. And also continuing unabated was his innate, sincere concern and valued advice for the health and well-being of family, friends, and those in need. We remember dear Ralph with the very utmost of love, the same love which he constantly showed to all throughout his life. May his memory continue to be for a blessing. This three-part series on time has been so well received. Thank you so much to Rabbi Infeld, Rabbi Stein, Esther Moses, Wood, Shira Wilf, Diana Friedman for all their hard work and dedication ensuring the excellence of this series. Thank you to all those who joined in on this series. It was a pleasure and an honor to see you here. Very best wishes to everyone for the utmost of health and happiness. I thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Bob, thank you. Thank you for sponsoring this series. And
Thank
of
you.
course, I couldn't imagine a better sikum, a better conclusion to this entire evening than not only the meaning that you bring to our community and to our synagogue family, but the meaning that you have brought to your immediate family and the meaning that your brothers have brought to their communities. So Zichanam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and may you continue to have the opportunity to share so much of yourself and your beauty with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Rabbi.
I
Very much
wanna
appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. And as Rabbi Stein said,
Thank
we
you, Rabbi.
love the Talmud teaches us that you should always say goodbye with words of Torah, and you'll remember the person when you say goodbye with words of Torah. And so we're going to go back to Rabbi Stein for one last question to ask Mary Jo of what has really been an important evening, I think, for all of us.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. And thank you so much, Rabbi Infeld, and thank you, Mary Jo. It's really been such a joy for me to reconnect with you here, and for so many people, as Rabbi Infeld can attest, to have a Zoom program, especially at night, that doesn't drop off to 30 people, then 20 people, then 10 people, but almost everyone staying on. And so many people are here to learn from you. And also because, Bob, we didn't just have someone sponsoring a program who says, here, I'm going to sponsor a program, but Bob calls around and tells people, you should come to this program. It's going to be wonderful. And we have so many people here learning. So as we leave, maybe Mary Jo, I'll put it to you this way: a question that I was talking with someone in the chat about. You're helping us find meaning by looking inside ourselves and sometimes sitting down, maybe journaling, taking a step back, finding meaning in the moment, in the hour, in the day, in the week. But in Judaism, we also have this drive to make the whole world a better place. So how do we balance those?
Well, I was listening, Bob, to what you were saying about Ralph. And I was like thinking, Ralph led a meaningful life. And when you were describing all the different ways that he got lost, that when you described him, what I was thinking, and Adam, this hooks into what you were saying, is that one of the biggest pieces about creating a meaningful life is when you feel lost, it's about connecting. It's connecting to other people. It's connecting. And when you described Ralph, Bob, you described him as when he would get lost, whether it was about your parents' health or whether it was his own health or what was going on, whether he knew it or not, he did exactly what I'm talking about.
That's
You
right,
know,
that's right.
in the honor of a meaningful life, you gave this series is that he clearly paused, right? He thought, he felt, and he reached out and connected. When he felt powerless and out of control, he talked to other doctors. He talked to people. He found different ways to read when he couldn't see. He literally, every moment of getting lost, Ralph paused, went inside, figured out what he needed and what other people needed, and connected with them, looked at them, gave to himself. It was a constant flow of getting lost, finding yourself through the relationships, through family, through physical health, through everything that I talked about, is that when you find yourself, you're then going to be present, Rabbi Stein, for others. And finding yourself is about going in and finding yourself, but also finding power, value in your relationships and in your family and in the world and with others. And so what I was so struck about is that this is the last in the series, is that in his honor, in his memory, this was a man who didn't even know me, and we followed the same meaningful plan together to live a meaningful life. So thank you for sharing about him.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Jo, thank you so much for making that connection for us and helping us really connect to that balance, really. And Bob, great opportunity there from our final speaker to hear about the inspiration from Ralph that you shared with us, and Mary Jo obviously connected to it as well. Thank you all so much for being here. It's been really great to have all of you. And Bob, thank you again. And Mary Jo, thank you. And Diane for putting this together, and others on our staff, Rabbi Infeld and Shira, and so many for making this series happen.